All right, and welcome back to the Prometheus Afterthoughts podcast, the podcast where we typically talk to the most recent boot, but today we're going to be talking to one of the finalists, CJ. CJ, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing good. How about you, Casey? How
I'm
are you?
doing I'm doing well. So let's just dive right into it. Let's hear your thoughts about the game, the show, the podcast, anything you want.
Okay, first the show. I really like that it's like it's both similar and different in a way. Like similar because it's similar to like Survivor, right? Like where you play challenges, vote out people, make it to the end, and then convince the jury for you to win the title. Different in a way because there's a lot of twists in our season. So like right off the bat, the elders system that was implemented on day one was very impactful of how the game goes. And yeah, nothing much that I could say, but like if you ask me questions, probably
Oh, yeah.
I'll be
So,
able
like,
to answer them.
I guess in this instance, what was it like seeing yourself back on the show? Especially, like we see that, in the beginning, you're almost in the majority, had, things worked out with Maddie, and then that didn't work out. So you kind of were on the bottom. And then we see, your willingness to flip, but that didn't like everything you kind of like were a part of didn't quite go right, but you still did make it to the end. So, like, if
Yeah.
you wanted to talk about seeing all that back and the moves you
Okay.
made.
Yeah. First, seeing myself on YouTube is pretty embarrassing. Hearing my voice, I already said in the reunion, like I'm not used to seeing myself in this kind of platform. So I'm very, I don't know, embarrassed to see myself. I usually like skip what wherever I speak my lines and yeah, it's so nice to see the perspective of other people. Like when you're talking to them and then there's another confessional going after, it's like, oh, okay, that's what they're talking while they are interacting with me at that time. So it's interesting to see how they work, how other players think. And also, yeah, my journey was yeah, it was definitely not not an easy route. Like that first vote really impacted the whole game, my whole game. Like if I could have just went to the majority, I wouldn't feel that I would be in the minority and I would have a flipped on the other side. Yeah, but that's the game or the cards that I've been dealt with. So I just work what I could have on that moment. And probably it's the pressure that I feel like, oh, I need to do something. Like I always have that on my mind. Like when I feel that my gut is telling me that I am in the bottom, like I need to do something. So I tried my best, even though it doesn't work on my favor, but still like I did what I can do.
Yeah. And what would, I'm very curious mostly about, the Jenny vote when you didn't vote Tracy,
Mhm.
which would have probably caused her to go out.
Yes.
What were you feeling in that moment? Like, was it really devastating knowing that like your rogue vote, took out pretty much your closest ally?
Yeah. Yeah, because for me, I love both of them, Jenny and Tracy. Like that's why I can't vote one of them because I love Tracy, I love Jenny, and I was like thinking, oh, I think there are enough votes for Tracy to go home. And then I was like, okay, I can just like throw my vote. I wasn't thinking smart at that time. Like I already said that it was my biggest regret that I could have, um made a big impact on that tribal council. But yeah, I wasn't it's just for me, it's hard for me to vote people that I have good relations with,
Fair enough.
even though it is the smart move to, vote out one of them. But for me, it's kind of like I am an emotional player deep inside. Like I value the conversations that we have. So that was a hard time. That's why I think it took me a long time to vote. Like I had in my confessional that I was torn to vote between one of them. So I just threw a rogue vote, which didn't go well, but still, yeah, I actually regretted that vote, but I mean,
It is
that's
what it is. It's
it
like a
is what
year
it is.
past at this
Yes, yeah.
point. So, which also, we saw that at the Ascension ceremony. You had gotten some really good praise for the first three jurors. Now, I heard a lot from Aaron and Michael, as the season was airing, they'd like message me with their thoughts. I didn't hear too much from you. So, like, did you think you were going to win it all? Like, were you in communication with Michael and Aaron? Like, what did you think was going to turn out like for the votes?
Oh, actually, yeah, we've been after like the game, I messaged Erin and Michael, like tell them that we still keep it that we could keep in touch because I really like them, inside and outside the game. They're like very fabulous people. I would love to talk to them after the game. Even when the show airs, we still message each other, and yeah, during that ascension ceremony, I well, when they keep telling me that, okay, like they're gonna have my vote, like I'm like the leading in a way on the first three jurors. I was Yeah, I feel good that, okay, I didn't expect that they would, vote me because, or um how do you say it, defend me in a way. But at the same time, I was like, oh, I wanted to stop because I don't know, when people, because I have a hard time when people compliment me. Like, I don't know how to act. I feel like, like I feel awkward about it. But at the same time, like, it's a game, so you need, to get as much compliments in your gameplay as you want because you want
Yeah.
their vote. But when, the later half of the jurors, I said, okay, I think I might not get it in the bag as I thought I would, which I didn't, but I kind of like expected that the jurors will be swayed, like at the end of, like, especially like, Ben was swayed to vote Michael. So I kind of like expected that I won't get the whole three votes locked in.
Hmm.
So yeah, and because for me, coming into this game, I don't want to expect that, okay, I think I have a very good chance of winning, and then at the end I'll be disappointed, right? So I tried to avoid that mindset. And at the same time, when we finished that that ceremony and the game is over, I told Michael and Aaron that, okay, whichever one wins, I'll be happy. Because we were very like supportive. Like, we are like, as a three, like we were like meant to be there at the final. Like, we genuinely like each other to be on that final three. So whoever wins that one is like, I'm very happy whoever gets the win on that part.
Gotcha. So one other thing I wanted to touch upon too was Bloody. Now Bloody, you received such high praise at first, and then Bloody like tore it all down. Can you kind of walk us through your thoughts about that? Like, when Bloody started being like, this is not the CJ show.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, she's right. Like, okay, I want them to ask me questions. Like, I want to know my my flaws and my mistakes. Like, I could, if I would been given a chance. And yeah, that's right. Like, I mean, I don't want it to be my show. Like, I want everyone to in the final three to have their say on their gameplay. And I was actually I did like the challenge of like having this to answer in like 30 seconds. Because for me, I cannot, like, for me, I usually try to explain it, but like I cannot keep it shorter. So I was like so challenged on that point to explain myself. And yeah, I was very glad that um it was, how do you say it? it definitely give me a perspective on how Bloody and other juror thinks about my gameplay, because I don't just want compliments. I want them to think, okay, what, or question me, what could have I done better or something like that. So yeah, it was a very good turning point.
All right. Well, do you have any other final thoughts before we conclude this?
Um, hmm, Final thoughts. Well, I actually enjoyed seeing them play. Like for me, watching them play, I was like, oh, so genius. Like Michael, I didn't expect that back in the confessionals, he's this strategist. Like I was like talking to him. We're just like, okay, I think we are on the same mindset or same level. But like when I saw the episodes, I was like, wow, he actually did all this stuff in the behind the scenes. And Erin, like her social game was phenomenal. Like I didn't know she had this trio with, Antonio and Jocelyn.
Jocelyn.
And with those two, like I actually learned a lot. Like, oh, I could have talked to other people. Like for me, when I flipped, I feel like I didn't have the connection with the original Gayan. I feel like I lost connection with Antonio, Bloody, and I only have the connection with Aaron. So I think I could have been more open on working with them. But yeah, I think that um my mindset of being like, oh, I need to fight like an underdog. I was like thinking, oh, I need to like find these best players in the game, and it worked because they were voted out, but like it didn't work on my favor in terms of like able to accomplish of winning the game. But yeah, it's still a fun game. I enjoyed watching and how um the episode goes by, and seeing myself, I don't know. I feel like I feel like I should have put up on a mask so that I won't be embarrassed on speaking. But yeah, that's my take on that.
No, I think you were perfectly fine to watch. You were lovely. People loved you. People voted for you. Some people voted for you for fan favorite.
Mhm.
So you
Yeah.
had your fans out there.
Probably I message them like, okay, can you vote for me? Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate the votes. Yeah, I think
And it was a
seeing
close race too at the end of the day. I mean, 2-2-3.
it was like, I mean, that would be a I would say that that's a perfect ending for us. Like for me, I think that vote, I thought it's gonna be like how do you say it, like a tie between
Hmm.
either me or Aaron or me or Michael, and then one of them is gonna be the deciding vote because you ask us for the, if in case of a tie, right?
Yeah, you one of you guys would have to break the vote, which would have been very, very interesting.
Oh yeah, yeah, it would have, yeah.
So, but
Yeah,
all right. So thank you for coming on, CJ. Really appreciate it. And thank you for playing the game. You were wonderful to have on. And I loved the final three. It was absolutely great. And thank you to everyone who's been watching the podcast and everything. So
yeah,
don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I guess on that note, have a good night. Bye.
yeah. And keep supporting Prometheus, like especially season 3 is coming up probably later this year,
Later
I
this
suppose.
year, the spinoff we have coming up too in another month or so. So it
Yeah, I
should be
would
exciting.
definitely would feel more comfortable watching it, that because I'm not part of that season. So I was like, I'm gonna be able to feel like, okay, I think I can enjoy seeing these players, fight for each other, or hopefully some blind sides along the way. We'll
Maybe.
see.
All right. Well, have a good night, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, guys.